I'm going to cut you off. Do not fucking buy that shitty bottle. And I mean that with all the love and respect in the world.
This is the 8 best bourbons to drink in 2021. And I think we got to give the people what they came for.
For sure.
So let's run through this and get your thoughts on it as I put it on the screen. You go with that?
Yeah, I'm good. Let me just go ahead and tell you, I loved doing this last week.
So here we go. So let's start at the beginning. The best bourbon for sipping in 2021 is Baker's Kentucky Straight Bourbon at Drizzly.
Yeah, so Drizzly is an online app you can order like Uber for whiskey. Yes, absolutely. This is a perfect, underappreciated, underloved spirit. So Beam, who makes Baker's, Booker's, Knob Creek, Basil Hayden's, they make all these things, Jim Beam. They recently changed the packaging for this particular product. The price is right. They do a 7-year, they do a 13-year. It's just absolutely great quintessential bourbon. It's in a perfect spot on this list. Best for sipping. Absolutely agree. No complaints.
Okay. Best cheap bourbon for 2021, Four Roses. And I think we discussed a little bit about this last week.
Yeah, we did.
And this was on your list.
You can't go wrong. I mean, Four Roses makes more money on the small batch and the single barrel, but both are sub $40. You cannot go wrong with a decent, not the brown label Four Roses, that's meant for mixing, but the small batch, the single barrel, and the small batch select, all of those are fantastic offerings. You cannot go wrong.
Okay.
This next one, I'm going to cut you off. Do not fucking buy that shitty bottle. And I mean that with all the love and respect in the world. Yeah.
What is that? Okay. So best American bourbon, you're just disagreeing. It sounds like it's ass. What would you recommend?
Yeah, no, just go back to what we talked about. I'm just not a Few fan. I think we talked about some of the celebrity brands. Few does something with the flaming lips we talked about, I think, last week.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not good. I'm going to be honest with you folks. I love you. Don't buy Few bourbon. They're not there yet.
What would you recommend in its place for the best American bourbon?
So for this, about the same price, you can do Wild Turkey, any of their offerings. You can do Heaven Hill, any of their offerings. So Russell's Reserve single barrel. You can do Russell's Reserve Rye, fantastic. Rare breed bourbon. You can do Heaven Hill wise. You can do, which I realize that Pikesville is a rye, but I would rather do that than Few.
Okay. Mark G said, I love Few. Well, you're an idiot, Mark, apparently.
Yeah.
All right.
Kill yourself.
Best Kentucky bourbon, Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Bourbon at Drizzly.
No, listen, I like Woodford for a lot of reasons. I love their Master Series, but I don't find their standard offering to be that great. Fantastic in a mint julep. They have been okay. So do you know how Campbell's created the cream of mushrooms specifically to sell more green bean casserole for Thanksgiving?
I have heard that story. I always forget it until someone tells me, but yes, I have heard that story.
Woodford Reserve is a blend of not that great bourbon that has pushed the drive for the mint julep, especially during the Kentucky Derby. So what I would suggest in place of Woodford is Old Forester, which there is already some Old Forester in Woodford. It's a blend of two distilleries. But Old Forester is so much better in every possible way.
Okay. That's easy enough. Best for old fashions. Knob Creek, Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
You can't go wrong.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with Knob Creek. Knob Creek is a phenomenal offering, extremely underpriced.
So so we've got Baker's, Four Roses, and Knob Creek are the three so far, based on those.
Yeah,
and that's just for old fashions now. So Knob Creek, is that not a good sipping whiskey? For example,
it's a great sipping whiskey. Okay. They do 120 proof and have one of the best barrel programs in the business.
Okay. Best for beginners, Buffalo Trace.
Well, no one can find Buffalo Trace. It's extremely allocated. So what I would recommend in place of that is Elijah Craig small batch.
Okay, and which is the best high proof right below that, but that's not the small batch, but Elijah Craig barrel proof is the best high proof.
It's pretty damn good. I will argue, though, that I would much rather have Maker's 46 Private Select, Maker's Mark Private Select, MMPS. Maker's Mark Private Select is the same price as Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, but a bit more richer. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, especially the last couple of years, has been largely very light and hot. It burns too much. It is objectively good, but for that price, I would rather have Maker's Mark Private Select.
Okay. And then the last one, the best top shelf whiskey. Is it?
Get the fuck out of here. That's no, that's way overpriced. It's only, hey, listen, if you're paying more than $100 for 10-year-old Kentucky bourbon, it doesn't matter if it tastes like J-Lo's crotch.
Wait a minute.
It's not worth it. It's $150.
Yes, I would like a J-Lo's crotch and diet, please.
Yeah. Okay. To be clear, if it's J-Lo's crotch, you're drinking it neat. You're not mixing it with Diet Coke.
All right, fair enough. How do you pronounce this? Is this Michters? Michters. Okay.
Like a K.
Okay.
Michters.
Michters. And it's garbage or what?
No. It's fantastic. It really is good, but it's not. It's a way overpriced, and it's put in a
it's
fancy
not the
bottle.
best. Okay, so it's not top shelf. It's good medium. It's good middle of the road bourbon. It's just not top shelf.
To me, it should be $75.
Okay. So what's the best top shelf or one of the, or what, if you were making this article, what would you have listed here? I guess is a better way to put this.
Okay. So if you had to say best top shelf.
Yes.
That's available. Now, to be clear, Michter's makes a lot of great products. I just think that the Michter's 10's overpriced. If I had to pick the best top shelf, let me give you a relative of Michter's 10-year that's better and cheaper.
Okay.
I would argue, and I think anyone in the bourbon world would tell you, that Michter's barrel strength rye, both the toasted and the untoasted, $75 is a perfect product. Right price, right proof, beautifully tasting, hard to come by. Everybody loves it. And it's appropriately priced. It's specifically the Michter's 10 that I think is a bit of a, how do I put this politely, gang rape.
Jesus. Wow. That took a turn. Holy shit.
It's just so high proof. I mean, it's so overpriced. High proof. I got thinking about the image I just put out there and it threw my words up.
Well, okay. There you go. Avoid getting the big G rape. Jesus, what just happened? Daddy's making a YouTube video!